Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spiritual Healing Center. Thank you all for being here in this beautiful sunny day. Before we do the announcements, I would like to ask our dear sister Sunshine to do our opening prayer.
Thank you, Kiki. Let us close our eyes and let us connect with our physical bodies, feeling our feet, taking deep inhales and exhales, connecting to our hearts, both the physical heart as well as our heart center that keeps us connected to the different realms and beings, friends and family, everyone in short. And let us say hello to God, the first cause of all things, divine mercy, divine justice, infallible and always good. Let us warmly welcome Jesus, our guide and model, our older brother who shows us the way. And let us also embrace the mentors of this group, the healing doctors, the nurses, our own mentors, and all the spirits who are here today, eager to learn new concepts, new lessons, and eager to put them into practice. We're deeply grateful for this moment where we commune one heart, one mind, staying focused on the Adriana, who is our speaker today, allowing her words to penetrate us on the deepest level. Thank you, God, for your mercy. Thank you for your indulgence with us. And thank you for your forgiveness, all of which we are practicing daily to give to our brothers and sisters in all realms. And with this, we joyfully, gratefully, and humbly ask for permission to begin today's meeting. And so be it, and so it is. Thank you.
Sister, for the beautiful prayer. Okay, so hello everyone again. Welcome to the Spiritual Healing Center. I hope you all had the chance to grab your bottle of water so then we can magnetize it. It's always good to remember that we are part of the United States Spiritist Federation, so we are always studying all the books from the mediums that are recognized by the Federation. And we have two parts of the service. The first one, it's going to be a learning from the speaker, who I'm going to introduce in just a minute. And during this time, it's really important that you pay attention to what is going to be said. We highly encourage you to take notes so then you can download the message that your mentor is working with you. Also, for you to sustain the energy along the reflections that you will be invited to have along the week. On the second part, it's going to be a hands-on healing. So please make sure that if you want to bring someone for us to work on the healing passes, we are more than welcome to work with this person in the treatments book. I'm going to share my screen so then you can all see all the opportunities that we have for us to be together. We know that the spiritual evolution is a journey, so you don't have to do that alone. Here you have all the opportunities for us to study. So here is the bshcenter.org/events at the meetings part. And here we have the Sunday services, of course, from 10 to 11:30-ish. We do have daily prayers, so we highly encourage everyone, if you cannot join us, at least be able for you to tune in and pray, make like a good positive vibration for yourself and for others every day at 6 p.m. We do have fraternal counseling for all of those who are going through anything difficult. We are open to pray with you, to be with you, just make sure to book someone to be available with you. So send us a message, send us an email or something. We'll make sure to have someone to talk to. And then we have book studies group, all opportunities for us to study. Some of them just started, some of them didn't, but everybody's able to catch up as soon as you join us. All studies begin at 6:30, and usually it takes around 1 hour. So on Sundays, we are reading the book Missionaries of the Light, a beautiful book written by André Luiz via Chico Xavier. On Tuesdays, we are reading the book The Consoler, by Emmanuel via Chico Xavier as well. And this one is done in collaboration with the Divine Light Spiritist group. Everybody's welcome to join in the same Zoom link. On Wednesdays, we just started Paul and Stephen, also by Emmanuel via Chico Xavier. It's an amazing book, also about transformation. So everybody's welcome to join us. It just started. And then on Thursdays, we are reading the book Living Spring, also by Emmanuel via Chico Xavier. On Mondays, we have mediumship services, and this one is only for those who have already at least started studying the Introduction to Spiritism. Okay, Introduction to Spiritism, but this one is, even the educational part is done by invitation only, but stay tuned if you are interested, just let us know. And then in the second part, we have a mediumship service. So if you or anyone is in need of spiritual or physical healing, do let us know. The person will be in treatment for at least 4 weeks. We highly encourage the person to stay tuned during this moment to make sure that you're open for the service. And so these are all the opportunities, as I mentioned to you, for us to be together. And today we will have our friend Adriana talking to us about the second part of the topic Earthly Sorrows, which is a beautiful chapter from the Spirit's book. So she will be focusing on disappointment and antipathetic relationships. For those who do not know Adriana, she has been an active member of the Brazilian Spiritual Healing Center since 2013, and she has been studying spirituality since 2003, with courses in Spiritism and Spiritualism. Adriana is a mom of a beautiful 5-year-old boy, Ian, and a member of the Bezerra Spiritual Healing Center. She volunteers as a coach for international students and young professionals. And I am very, very pleased to have her here today. Please help me to give her a warm welcome. Thank you, sister, for being here.
Thank you for having me. Just want to make sure, Kiki, you can all hear me and see the slides.
Yes, all perfect.
Perfecto. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Thank you again for being here with us, allowing yourself to dedicate this moment for inner transformation, to respect your own evolution, and to be together as we call the BSH family that extends beyond the screen, that we are seeing each other, that it extends beyond countries and languages. We are all united by the love of our Jesus and our God. Today, I am going to speak about love, loss, and human relationships, something very basic. There are actually 6 questions that Allan Kardec asked the Spiritists about these topics, these items, and I found it at first simplistic. I thought only 6 questions, very simple. But in reality, as I read the passages and also trying to associate with some real life examples, I've been reflecting on these topics that are very challenging for us human beings living on Earth. So bear with me. It's an invitation for reflection and really allowing us to reflect and put into practice, the concepts that we are going to be discussing today that we see every day in our lives. So this is from the Spirit's book, Hope and Consolation, Chapter 1, Earthly Joys and Sorrows. So there's joy, but there's also sorrows, right? We're going to discuss some of it in the next slides. So, to be or not to be, that's the question, isn't it? And today the question is, why do we suffer? Maybe it's a rhetorical question, maybe it's a philosophical question for some of us. But the question is, we all go through this transition, this process of suffering. Some see the suffering as a piece to evolve. Some, including myself, sometimes feel that you are the victim of the situation because it's hard to see the big picture most of the time. This very first question, it asks when the Allan Kardec asks the spirit, is the loss of those who are dear to us a legitimate source of sorrow, as this loss is both irreparable and independent of our will? So we're talking about losing someone, né? When someone goes through the next stage of the eternal life. And it hit really close to my heart, thinking about the people that have, left the earth, have made the passage to whatever it is, what comes after. And I start thinking about like how losing someone we love, especially if we really, really love, is a natural and deeply painful experience. It's kind of like a duality. Eh? And this sorrow can be a life test and an opportunity for growth. Now, I say that with reservation because it's most of the time a painful growth. Yeah? So even so, we are not completely separated from those who have passed away. So that's the consolation. The ones that have passed away can remain close to us in spirit, and remembering them with love, not despair, can bring comfort and peace. In that conversation, our Kardec is talking about communicating with loved ones who have died is not wrong or disrespectful when the intent behind it is with sincerity and love, deep love and respect. So the spirits who we love, and who loved us back are comforted by our affectionate thoughts and memories. So when we think about those who have passed away, we are connected with them through our thoughts, to our vibration of love and gratitude for being part of their lives. It's a beautiful moment. But what causes harm for ourselves, for those who have made the passage, is the attachment, is the suffering, is the sorrow. So that's why he's asking, why do we suffer so much? Is it a choice? Is it a little bit of being ignorant of the consequences of our attitude? And sometimes even selfishness. He will touch on this further about wanting someone to stay by your side, even if that person is suffering, even if that person, is ready to evolve. However, he also mentions that endless and hopeless grief can be painful for both the living and the departed. So be aware. While spirits are touched by our love, excessive sorrow reflects a lack of trust in the future. So we're talking about excessive sorrow. If they are now at peace, regretting their departure is like wishing they were still suffering. I'll repeat. If they are now at peace, regretting their departure is like wishing they were still suffering. True love allows a space for sadness while trusting that reunion will come in time. So trust in the divine purpose, in the divine plan for each of us. And to that point, I've been thinking about real life examples in terms of loss. and how we have tools or how can use the tools that we learn through spiritism and other philosophies of life to overcome the big hole in our hearts. And there was in this passage, he cites an example of a student who loses a parent while studying abroad. He was telling that at first the grief feels unbearable. You just can't stand, you don't think you will survive. And continue life even feels strong to some extent. But over time, the student learns to honor the parent through memories, values, and quiet reflection. So the teaching here in this example, as it shows in this question, is grief is natural, but healing begins when sorrow becomes loving remembrance rather than despair. And it's interesting, this very example from the book. This is what actually happened to me. I was here in the United States and I was working and studying, and my dad passed away and he was in Brazil. I couldn't make it. It was very sudden, and there was something that I needed to um, work through therapy, through the readings of spiritism. It was a time where I felt even more connected because I needed answers. And I feel that maybe this is true for many of us. And it could be a loved one, it could be, our extended family, our pets, or someone or something that you love so much that has made the passage that you're still connected with. So grief is natural, but healing begins when sorrow becomes loving remembrance rather than despair. There is in Portuguese, and I'll try to translate to English to the best of my ability, because there is a saying that says, saudade é o amor que fica. So missing someone, that feeling, that deep feeling of missing someone, it actually is the love that remains. So when you miss someone, just remember that is the love that remains in your heart, because that person will always exist as long as you think and honor the memory of you together. When we're talking about excessive grief, the book here in this very same question says, an example, a spouse loses their partner and believes happiness would be a betrayal. They withdraw from life entirely. So the teaching here in this one simple question, the true love wants peace and growth, not endless suffering. And there have been many cases where, the partner has made the passage and the one that remains feel guilty to even open herself up for love one more time, thinking that would be a betrayal. But in reality, and of course, this is in the ideal world, the true love goes beyond that. The true love wants peace and growth. And relationship is also a form of growth, because we all know dealing with another human being, how challenging it is, but it's also an opportunity for us to grow. Yeah. In summary here, what I believe, this very first deep question about the loss of someone that we love, the points for me are loss of loved ones, right? This disconnection, broken relationships. So we know that that relationship on earth has been broke, but not the connection, the synergy between the two people or families have not broken in a spiritual level. And instead of being ungrateful or feeling the victim of a situation for losing someone, is actually being able to be grateful, appreciate for having had the opportunity to have lived with that person in your circle. So it always goes back to the rhetorical question: why do we suffer? Is it something that we suffer because I'm I'm choosing, or or because I am unable to utilize the resources, the tools that we have to overcome, not forget, but to accept and with grace embrace the new situation. Always thinking about the departed person always feels what we are feeling in our heart. So we are connected. I thought it was a very good reminding about suffering in general. This specific example is about suffering, a loss of a loved one. What else are the sorrows that we human beings on planet Earth, on third dimension, have to go through in order to learn and progress? We're going to go a little further on the loss of loved ones, but what should we think in the opinion that communication with those beyond the grave is sacrilegious? So that was the question. Is it even something that we feel comfortable talking to other people that may not have a more spiritual background? For us here studying the Spiritism, and Kardec goes into a specific topic, is that grief is natural, as I mentioned. Love continues beyond physical separation. Hope replaces despair. I like that. The hope that one day, somehow, some way, we will be reunited with those we love. So it is part of that process, and it is okay for us to believe that somehow we are communicating with those through messages. There are so many books and so many stories that even talk about Chico Xavier that received in a psychographic so many letters from, for example, from kids young adults that have passed away and have come to give their parents a message of comfort to their hearts. Specific message, a specific example where the parents, would understand this message is for them. What a beautiful work of the mediums. In this case, Chico Xavier, what a beautiful work to be the bridge between the spiritual and the earth life, to hopefully bring some comfort to the hearts of those parents who have lost their kids. And I'm saying this just because the kids, right, being such a unnatural, logical, perhaps, and expected sequence of life where, a parent have to bear the kids, their son or their children, must be unbearable pain. And that's what he's talking about. The hope replaces the despair. But by all means, this is not sacrilegious to believe that we can communicate with those beyond the grave, beyond this life. Now, everything that is in excess is bad, right? It's not good for anybody because there's no balance. Yeah? So in this specific question, Kardec aims to address the excessive grief when it becomes harmful to those who are feeling the pain and to those who have departed. And the question proposed is, what effect does the inconsolable sorrow of survivors have upon the spirits who are the object of that sorrow? Well, again, the endless sorrow can block healing. In the healing process, when you open yourself up to understand the mysteries of life and death, or life beyond death, the healing process can stop if there's so much sorrow that you can open yourself up for new concepts, and perhaps not even be able to feel the feelings, to accept and start working towards the healing journey. Yeah? Trust in the future brings peace. The big word here is trust. Now, trust the trust the designius of the God's plans, and trust that there is a plan for everybody. And in that, we all have our time on earth to work on our spiritual evolution. Loving someone means wishing them happiness. Loving someone is wishing them happiness, no matter in what form or shape that type of love is or where that person is. It says here, just an example here of excessive grief. Né? A spouse loses their partner and believes happiness would be a betrayal. Yeah? Again, it's the idea of life goes on. Yeah? Open yourself up to love again is such a beautiful act of love, because you are not attached to that person or to that relationship, but yet love always continues, and it transmutes, and it has a different connection with those who are here on earth. Now, another type of sorrow that Kardec points out here in this question, the 6 questions, it's about ingratitude and disappointment. Big words. Yeah? And the question is, how do ingratitude and fragile friendships contribute to bitterness in the human heart? Not everyone recognizes kindness. That is one point as to why ingratitude comes into surface. Always keep in mind that doing good is still meaningful. Again, it's about the intent behind the actions. Ungrateful people often suffer more. That's what we believe, because you can only project to others your behavior, your kindness or lack of, because you can only project what you have within. So Kardec says here that disappointment caused by ingratitude or broken friendship is another common source of human suffering. These experiences can be deeply hurtful, but the teaching here is to feel compassion rather than bitterness. And I know that is easy said than done. Yeah? But what a great opportunity, what a great exercise. Doing good is valuable even when it goes unrecognized. So the goal is to not act expecting to be recognized. Yeah? Ungratitude should not harden the heart. When ungrateful relationships end, they often make room for more sincere and meaningful connections. Kindness is never wasted, even when it's not returned. Intent, being clear in your actions, doing good, it feels good, and it's for yourself. That reflects on your neighbor, on your sister, and on your brother. He gives here an example in the book. I think it was very simple but yet impactful. He says a professional mentors someone who later shows no appreciation. Though painful, the mentor realizes their kindness still matter. So doing good has value beyond the recognition. So we do your best, and you hope, that what you did has reached that person in the right way. But if not, that's okay, because you did your part. This is big for me too, working with young, very professionals, and sometimes even very sophisticated international folks that teach me as much as I hope teach them, but no attachment, allow the learning process to happen naturally. So this was a good example for me and what I do for work and outside my work as well. Because at the end of the day, we're all dealing with human beings. Yeah? Good stuff. Good food for thought here. All right. Continue here. Kardec is talking about love. We remember we talked about the earthly sorrows and the joys, And in this conversation about love, what is the connection or perhaps the difference between the body versus the soul? So the question is, are the disappointments that ingratitude causes meant to harden the heart and turn it callous and insensitive? So disappointments, how can the disappointment turn a heart hard, insensitive? Okay. So here he, I believe, tries to make a difference between the physical attraction and the love, which is the connection between souls, right? He says that the physical attraction it's temporary, it fades away. It's a very superficial connection, and it happens. We are humans, right? But the spiritual connection lasts, and it may last for many, many, many lifetimes in different, perhaps, shape and forms. Perhaps a connection between a mother and a daughter, a mother and a son, or between two lovers, a man and a woman, or a grandmother and the little nephew, the little um, grandson, granddaughter. So there are different layers, different ways of spiritual connections. And the respect and familiarity built through love. Again, the respect word has come up many times here, always remembering whether it's the communication that we are trying to establish with those who have passed, or the relationship that we have between our body, this amazing vehicle that allows us to stay here incarnated on planet Earth, and the connection with our soul in a higher realm, always with the respect and understanding and gratitude for all those layers that are available for us. So I'll go a little beyond where Kardec says, sometimes love is not returned, or strong affection fades into indifference or dislike. This often happens because physical attraction is mistaken for deeper, lasting connection. Physical attraction can disappear, but true affection, rooted in respect and shared value, endures. Living closely with someone reveals who they truly are. Isn't that the truth? Whether it's in your family, at work, people that are in your community, uh, around you, in your neighborhood, always is an opportunity for truly discovering who that person is. Né? Relationships that seem perfect at first may be based on illusion. So never judge a book by its cover. We never know what's going on inside those individuals. And the example that he cites here in the book says, two people believe they are in love, but daily life reveals incompatibility. Love based only on attraction fades, love based on respect endures. That very challenging dynamic, the day-to-day relationships with our loved ones or with those who are perhaps not the most loved ones as well, brings such an opportunity, an exercise, patience, and comprehension and compassion, and all the things that we try to put into practice in our daily life. What else? Unhappy relationships. Wow. Kardec was really inspired, I have to say, all those questions that really cause some discomfort at times because there's so much to look into inside of us. Talking about pride, talking about fear, talking about ego, talk about illusion. Again, earthly sorrows and joys. The next question is, why does love, even between kindred spirits, sometimes become one-sided or fade into indifference or hostility? How can something so beautiful that at first it was just love and hearts and feeling so good become so bad? you know. He says that pride, fear, or illusion can be the cause of this change in the relationship, because love cannot be forced. Né? It's a natural feeling, organic feeling that will come or not. But awareness brings freedom. The truth will set you free, right? And he even gives again, an example. Someone remains in a relationship due to fear or pressure, leading to long-term unhappiness. Love cannot be forced. Honesty and self-awareness prevent lasting sorrow. Really inviting us to think about the type of relationship that we are creating, living, in our circle, in our community, in our families, to rethink about how we live our lives. And are these healthy relationships for me? Not in a way that we're trying to escape from the lessons, but rather to understand the purpose about these dynamics in our relationships. What brings consolation? That's a good question. Is a lack of sympathy between individuals who are destined to live together a source of sorrow, and one that's most bitter because it poisons an entire life? Well, he says the lack of faith in the future. Again, faith comes back again in the questions. He's trying to alert us to really believe in the unseen or in the divine plan, and trust the future, have faith in the future, really believing that for each of us there is a major plan. Yeah. And the continued connection through love and memory, which really brings the individuals who are destined to be together, to learn from each other and to grow. Growth through trials. There might be opportunities where we are able to learn a lesson or perhaps more easily, or sometimes we need to go through our own trials to learn deeply something that we need to incorporate in our lives and our progress. And then an invitation for a reflection to all of us, gathering the ideas that Kardec discusses here with the spirit. This is a very good conversation. Love wisely. In other words, know thyself. Be aware of the challenges and try to see the big picture in that relationship. Grieve with hope. So he's not saying not, do not suffer, do not grieve. No, grief is part of life, but with hope, hoping that one day we'll be united again with those who we love. Do good without expectation or expecting return. Trust that no pain is wasted. Wow, that's a big one. To trust that everything has a purpose is a big one, at least for me. And lastly, just leaving you with a quote here that I thought it was very meaningful to this conversation. True happiness comes from love guided by understanding. Love that's guided by understanding. So the understanding comes from what? This education that we are doing here, this opportunity to learn, that guides the love, which becomes then happiness to all of us. With that said, that true happiness comes from love guided by understanding. I thank you all for being here today, for being with us and listening to what I had to share here. As I mentioned from the beginning, it seemed to me in the beginning that it was just very simple 6 questions and answers, but ended up being very in depth, really provoking some feelings, some reflection into the learnings and the teachings of Allan Kardec, and how we put this into practice. That's the big idea for me here too. How do I transform this theory into practice? So thank you so very much. Happy to elaborate further if you have any questions or any comments. Thank you all. happy Love's Day, right? Happy Love Day or weekend to everybody.
Well, sister, that's deep. I agree with you that it's a call for reflection, because to your point, I think it summarizes our whole journey about understanding attachment, right? Like, I remember um so many lectures that I've watched, and so many books that we read talking about the importance of us not to be attached to the things on earth, because we know that all of this is temporary. They are all means for us to evolve. And I think this is one of the hardest ones, right? Because we love so much, and then all of a sudden the thing that we love so much is not here anymore. How do we just understand all of that? So I think it is really beautiful and inspiring. I love what you said about love is guided by understanding, and how important it is that we use the self-awareness to bring that freedom for both us and those that we love. It's hard. It's really hard. And I think that for us that live abroad from our family, it's also, I think that was one of the things that I learned so quickly when I arrived here, because if for those who know me, I came here all by myself. I didn't have absolutely no one, and sometimes I would feel so lonely, but at some time I would feel so blessed. And that was the moment that I started learning a little bit more about love is not touched, love is to be felt. And I think this is right, like, it's that connection, as you said, it's something that will never ever be ripped apart. And that's beautiful if we look at that. Like, the divine love is absolutely not physical. But we have some lifetimes for us to understand all of that. Yeah. And I'm definitely in that line. Thank you, sister.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so very much. That is
Thank you.
beautiful.
Adriana, we miss you. That was powerful in so many different ways. I would just say that for me, two realities. The first is, at whatever point the light bulb goes on and this makes sense and resonates deeply, like you said, depth of understanding, the recognition that we have a lifetime of habits before this moment. And it doesn't change overnight just because the light bulb went on. So that's the content of the answers is really, kind of like the measuring points going forward. And the second is, thank you for reintroducing into my vocabulary saudade.
Yes, I'm glad that you recognize that word. Although, it is, again, it's a duality. I love this word because it's so full of feelings. At the same time, feeling it is so it's deep, It's really it's
Different.
a deep feeling. Thank you.
Adriana, thank you so much. Your presentation is brief, however, very powerful. I too can relate to what you went through about losing a loved one when here in the US. I lost my mother less than 6 months when I was in the US, and I chose not to go back for the funerals and all that because I really was studying spiritism, and this knowledge brought me so much comfort, so much consolation that I understood the process immediately. And in my personal experience, I was able to actually receive a few days after she passed her visit. She came into my bedroom for a goodbye. And that was very enlightening for me. I don't know how to describe it, but that was totally amazing. But anyways, losses we go through, and my understanding about suffering is that suffering a is a reality. We all go to suffering. There's a saying that talks about pain. Pain is inevitable. However, suffering is optional. So I believe that looking at what's going on in the world today, I was watching a little YouTube yesterday, and I saw that the monks that are walking across the United States. That's an example of intention and action. The intention to, okay, we gotta do this, we're gonna do it. The actions that they are doing it, and they do have a purpose, which is to bring peace to the world. And a lot of people along the way are connecting with that. So that's some kind of education that we don't find in books at all, but finding action. Yeah. And another thing is that usually what we pay attention to an event or a situation, that intensity persists. So it is important for us to resignify what we are observing. Because if my attention is into the pain and I don't find other ways to redirect that energy, then that increases my suffering. So I think it's important that we have tools nowadays that helps us overcome this, but it's through personal development, personal education, inner reform that we get to this place. So everything that's going on around us brings us to that perspective. What are we going to do about it? So thank you for your presentation. That was remarkable. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles, for also bringing up the example of the monks. You're right. It doesn't matter. There was nothing about the religion. It was like people united for love and recognizing the action and bringing them together. It was beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, the idea is that when are we going to start seeing all religions as brothers, sisters, fraternal relationship, because they all have a contribution. Yeah, thank you.
You know, love is a word that is definitely, in my opinion, misused a lot. And I think it's also something we hope for. But the Spirit's book do give a good, clear definition of love and how it works. And I thoroughly appreciated the Spirit's book. And also, you touched on those emotions. That is profound. This is true. All these different emotions can cause us to go in different directions, mostly behind misunderstanding why we're here, what our purposes are, what was the message from God for us to learn from. and how to evolve in a humble way. I appreciate your talk. It was really, really good. I was driving. I made it back. Thank you, Adriana. It's good to see you again.
Likewise. Thank you, Regina.
Oops.
Too of driving, but I would like for you, please, to say again that part where holding on. I forgot how you put that, but it was so powerful. But it's like somebody leaves and you are trying to honor them, the pain or whatever one might be feeling, and holding on in a certain way causes more harm. That part there, can you repeat that? Is that clear?
Yeah, I'm trying to see.
Did you hear me?
Yes, I'm trying to see what
Okay.
I said about holding on to into the feeling, into that situation. Yeah, it really hurts us.
Yeah.
Excessive grief.
I think it was in the first or the second. I think it was in your second slide because I took note of that as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's right after the right before the healing begins and sorrow becomes loving remembrance. Yeah, I think it's holding to sorrow just holds them for growth.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Adriana, it was a freelance thought. I don't think it was a bullet, because we were all trying to write them fast.
Me too. I was just taking notes like phonetically. Yeah.
Thankfully, we record this, so
we can always go back. That's true.
Yeah, because I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, my notes maybe was spontaneous.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ariane. And that is nice to talk about this subject because everybody is involved with that at any rate. But the question for me is loss some kind of positive and negative, this kind of suffering? I think there is two kinds of suffering, positive and negative. It depends on, as Kiki said, that how attached we are to the person or to the things that we are. We can lose a car and we can suffer a lot than when we lose some person and we are not so suffering for that. It depends on our attachment. That is like when we are in a boat and we are sure we can go safe on the water. And when we are falling down in the water, we have nobody, we are attachless. And then we are sorry for we are suffering that when somebody comes and can save us from the water, then we are again secure and we are happy. This happiness comes to us. So is with the loss. When we lose something and somebody, a human, comes and helps us in that time, then the suffering will be very less. You see, finally, any suffering, lose mother, father, anybody, then after a while we forget it or is less and less and less. Why we don't want to think the first time that we should find some thing that we can be attached to that and make us happy. And I remember and pray that we say, God grant me the severity to accept the things I cannot change. And that is what we cannot change. Why we don't want to accept at the first and find something to be attached to that, or then as a Charles said, the religion comes here to help us. When we believe that anybody is going, anything is going away, that God is always there. And God, as Sunshine always says, is within us. We should find God within us, and then we are sure that somebody is with us. We are not never alone, and that can help us. Thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you.
Wow, powerful words. Thank you for reminding us. Wow, thank you.
Hi, does anyone have any additional comments or questions? Our sister. Gratitude. Agree, Charles. Just gratitude. Thank you, sister, for helping us to achieve a little bit closer to the responsible or divine love. Thank you. All right, everyone. So let's take 2 minutes break. It's 11:01 right now. We will resume in 2 minutes, 3 minutes if you need. And don't forget to bring your bottle of water. Thank you so much.